Who's up for a mystery? Mare of Easttown just finished its 7-episode series on HBO, and it packs in plenty of suspects in this thriller. But should you be binging it? A detective in a small Pennsylvania town investigates a local murder while trying to keep her life from falling apart. Kate Winslet stars as Mare. She's a detective in a fairly close-knit town, and she has a lot of connections with the people in her community. She's been investigating the disappearance of a young woman when another turns up murdered. So along with Kate Winslet, there is a slew of people in this that we get to know in some sort of fashion. There's Evan Peters, Guy Pearce, Jean Smart, and Julianne Nicholson. But there's also David Denman, Angourie Rice, John Douglas Thompson, Joe Tippett, and Sosie Bacon. And there are still a ton of other actors that come into play because this is such a massive ensemble cast. Now, we've seen murder in a small town play out in dramas before, and during the first episode, my wife and I noticed that this had the feel of Broadchurch, and then this even came up when I was chatting with somebody online about the series. I wouldn't really compare it to Broadchurch, but there was something about it that did give it some similarities. As I had said, Winslet as Mare is investigating a missing young woman when a girl she is familiar with turns up murdered. She's assigned to the case, but her personal life is pretty complicated, so it ends up getting in the way at times. The large cast of characters really helps to keep the mystery fresh, too. I had suspicions on who the perpetrator was in episode 1, and then I changed my mind. And I proceeded to make different guesses as the series went along, and I'm quite happy to say that I was completely surprised when everything was revealed. And while the mystery is a major focus of the show, the theme of trauma is the driving force of the narrative. Mare is dealing with trauma from years past, which still has a hold on her to some degree, and the town deals with trauma, first regarding, the missing young woman, and then obviously over this new murder. There are several other families too that are overcoming or navigating their way through a particular hurt in their lives. I like how the show takes the time to make us feel those traumas, and not in a horrifying way, but so that we can empathize with everybody. This makes the characters real, not just nobodies on a screen. At the end of episode 7, there was a short featurette that talked about different facets of the show from behind the scenes. One thing I found particularly fascinating is the dialects of that region. There's the way that this area of the state speaks, and their accent is a little unique, and so all the actors needed to learn to pronounce their dialogue in the way that the townspeople would say it. They put in a lot of time to make sure the accents were accurate, but the same goes for the costumes, and also the settings and the set design. They captured it well, but they were a little easier because they were shot on locations that were near to where the show takes place. And you certainly get the feel for small town life. I like how the show builds out Mare as the local hero, but not for what she does on the police force. And it's a great contrast to holding up what was as great, but then at the same time casting doubt for what's happening in the present. There are only 7 episodes for this show, and I love that it creates the story, it then builds incredible mystery, then it solves it. There's no need to continue it on. They told a wonderful story and then gave a resolution. And there is a patience to some of the storytelling, but it never dragged to me. The scenes would build out more characters, which in turn then added to the motives, or it created alibis. They also crafted a world for us that the characters live in that feels real and relatable. Even if we don't encounter somebody who's been kidnapped or murdered, we know people that are going through hurts, that have family members who are struggling with addictions. We know of people that are coping with loss, and even those that are beginning new and exciting relationships. And each of these things make the situations that just feel more real. There's also humor that's inserted, as well as some great family drama. The lives of the characters are not simple by any means, and many are surprisingly complex and messy, but that makes for some good storytelling and an opportunity to show us different facets of the players. I love how sometimes the twists or suspicions play out over the course of the show, or just several episodes, while others are shorter in their play, but long enough to still keep us guessing. Sometimes the story will remove a person from the suspect pool after placing them there for just a couple of episodes. It messes with us in a really great way. I thought it was fun for the show to cross somebody off the list before I did, and then that made me then have to completely rethink all of my suspicions. There are several really emotional sequences throughout the show, and the actors give us really convincing portrayals. And some of them were touching, and others are just piercing. There's also one episode that left me literally with my mouth open in stunned silence for a few minutes. When a show can catch you off guard like that, I count it as a huge win, and my reaction proved to me how invested I really was. If you've not started the series yet, the good thing is that now you don't have to wait in agony from week to week. You can just binge it all right now. Each episode is right around an hour-ish, so it will be a bit of an investment, but it's totally worth the time to check out. For me, I loved the characters and their growth and development, and I do think there were one or two who kind of just disappeared out of the show, which did leave me questioning a little as to where they went. But for the majority, there's a massive mix that you'll root for, be disgusted by, think are totally shady, and then there's a few that you just can't read. They combine to create a wonderful whodunit, and like I said, I was wrong the entire time through, and that's even after switching suspects several times. If you don't have HBO, this might be a great reason to get a free trial to binge the series. It is a blast to watch. There's sex, nudity, a ton of profanity, and some violence. I give Mare of Easttown 4.5 out of 5 couches. So if you've been watching this, please don't give away any spoilers away in the comments, but how did you like the show? Let me know below. If you enjoyed this review, please give it a like. Also, don't forget to share and subscribe. I'm Chris. This is Movies and Munchies. Thanks for couching with me.